Remember the man who shaped the skyline of America, who embodied the American dream and showed the nation its potential? Remember the man who left a good life to ignite a movement, who molded America, empowered the people, and redefined our history? Remember the man who battled the hoaxes, fought the witch hunts, and defeated impeachments? Remember the man who rebuilt our economy, protected the worker, and uplifted the family? Remember the man who made good on a promise, who moved our embassy and gave the Middle East peace?
After decades of division and conflict, we mark the dawn of the new Middle East.
Remember the man who built the wall, who protected our nation and secured our borders? Remember the man who put America first, the unrivaled deal maker, who dominated the world stage? Remember the man who rebuilt our military into the greatest fighting force known to mankind?
America will always prevail.
Remember his America? Remember American greatness, American dominance, American preeminence, America first? Remember the pride, the patriotism, the confidence in a leader who put this nation above all? Remember how the deep state couldn't stop him, the elites couldn't buy him, and permanent Washington could not control him. Remember the winning, remember the victories, remember the reverence, remember the pride, remember the movement, remember the beginning, remember the vision, remember the legacy, remember what was, remember great again, remember that nation, remember that man. Well, he's back. There's unfinished business. And remember the promise.
The best is yet to come.
That was awesome.
That is a good video.
Wow.
Definitely.
I hadn't seen that one. How did
You
I not-
hadn't?
I don't know how
Oh,
I saw that or hadn't seen it. I mean, I saw a lot of the clips, but just with the voiceover, that was great.
you know, President Trump posted that, but then I saw on Twitter, it was made by the Dilly meme team. There's several people,
yeah,
talented folks
they're
that,
great.
yeah, they're all great. So,
I'm a little behind on social media, but anyway.
oh,
Good evening.
good evening. Welcome, everybody. I see Herbie and Magnolia in Rumble. And I know Moxie will be joining us later in chat. We have quite a show tonight, and it's probably part one of many.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about some old books from the 1890s. I'm pretty excited. Are you excited, Carrie?
I am.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I think for some of the people that haven't heard about this, I know people that we talk to in the community and stuff do know about some of this, but I think you guys might be surprised with some of the things that we talk about tonight.
Well, it was kind of rediscovered after Trump won the election.
Yeah, so
That's what
I want to set the context
Okay.
before we start talking about that. And before we do, if you guys can make sure you subscribe, tell your friends, share our podcast with others. And we do spend a lot of time doing research. So if you feel like you want to help us out, you certainly can through doing a Rumble rant on Rumble. YouTube doesn't allow us to do super chats, I think they call it on YouTube. But yeah, so I'll set the context really quick and then we'll dig in and talk about our thoughts on everything and some of the various things we've discovered.
Okay.
So for anyone who hasn't heard about this, back in a few years back, there's a lot of internet sleuths and researchers that discovered a uncanny series of books written back in the 1890s that contained names, locations, and other snippets that coincidentally are eerily similar to future people, places, and events, specifically Donald Trump and his son Barron. And the author's name is Ingersoll Lockwood. He was a poet and an attorney, but he wrote a series of books, 3 in particular. So we're not going to talk about all of his books, but the ones that interest us. The first one he wrote in 1889, and it's called The Travels and Adventures of Little Barron Trump. And I believe
May I just interject for a moment?
Yes.
I thought it was really interesting that Abraham Lincoln appointed him consul to the Kingdom of Hanover, which is Germany, in 1862. So he had an in with the president.
Yeah, Ingersoll Lockwood was, he was confirmed by the Senate and nominated by Abraham Lincoln. But you guys are going to be surprised. I want to talk about the books first, but we should talk about Ingersoll himself after because he's a questionable character.
Yeah. I saw some things.
He does. There's some things, but first, the coincidences. Well, let's talk about the books that he wrote.
Okay.
He wrote these books around right after, I think it was 1865 or 1870 when Alice in Wonderland was written.
Right.
And so there were a lot of authors trying to do something similar.
Yes. That genre. Yeah.
Yeah, that genre. So
fantastical.
Fantastical. So there's 3 books. I'll show you the titles of each one. The first book, unbelievably, 1889. The title of it is Travels and Adventures of Little Barron Trump and His Wonderful Dog Bulger. And the second book that he wrote in 1893 is called Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. So crazy. And then the third book we're going to talk about is called 1900 or The Last President. So let's dig in, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the coincidences in these books. I don't know if we want to start with, first of all, just the fact that the title has Barron Trump in it.
Right. And then the likeness of Barron, if you do a side-by-side of the renderings. I'm
So this is one of the, on the left is one of the illustrations
Mhm.
from the book. And
Mhm,
on the right is Barron Trump when he was younger.
mhm.
And it's definitely uh definitely an interesting likeness,
Mhm,
if you would.
mhm.
So and the fact that it's his name in the book is Barron Trump. So the two books, Travel and Adventures of Little Barron Trump
Mhm,
and Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey.
mhm,
Uh, Barron is in the book. It's not literally his first name; it's a title.
mhm.
Um, and but still, throughout the book, they call him Barron Trump. He
Lit
goes by
Little Baron Trump. Mhm,
Barron Trump,
mhm,
and I find that super interesting.
mhm.
And um, listed in the book, where they describe different characters in the book, and the Marvelous Underground Journey. That one, that one begins in Russia, where Baron Trump travels through a portal,
Mhm.
but he receives instructions from Don,
The
who is
Dawn.
the Don, who is considered the master of
Yeah,
all masters,
yeah, yeah.
right?
And the place that he travels to is called the world within a world. So
Yeah, portals to the portals to the world within a world,
Mhm.
situated somewhere in northern Russia.
Yeah, and they're Don his last name was Fum, F-U-M, Don Fum's world within a world. And
Yep,
so he knows where this portal is and he gives him instructions. So he's kind of like a mentor. It's not his father, but
right.
you could say he's a mentor. Um, yeah,
That is so interesting. Um,
but
especially that Don's in there, right?
right. And Little Baron's home is known as Castle Trump,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yep.
And
Uh, yeah, he calls it Castle Trump.
mhm.
Mhm. Yep. There's so many coincidences. There's also the dog. So one thing wait, maybe I shouldn't talk about that yet because I think you have something to say about it beginning in Russia.
Oh, right. Well, first I want to, yeah, there's a media. But there is a funny thing that did you notice that he has personalized insults for most of the people that he meets?
Yeah, that's part of the personality of this character in the book.
I mean, it's like we know that Trump comes up with very funny names, and this is obviously Barron, but like the man who with the frozen smile, I mean, he just anyway.
That's the other parallel though, is the
It
personality.
yeah.
And not
So
only that, he talks about how big his head is.
yeah.
So how smart he is.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, let's see the media. Okay, so this place in Russia, there's a cave, and it's a portal to the underground world, which has like ice castle and royalty and really strange people and countries. But they in Russia, there is a real cave that was discovered in the recent past that is a lot like what the novel describes. And in 1991, they found these out of place artifacts. They're nanocoils, which you can see. And, the article says that they dated them at 300,000 years. But anyway, they do that. But it's nanotechnology that resembles miniature components of contemporary nanotechnology. And they
And
found it.
this they found this in 1991.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right? And so I don't know. I mean, it's just a kind of an interesting coincidence that it
Oh,
was.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. So this is super interesting too. Like we could do a whole show just on this.
Oh, we could.
But wait, they found this futuristic technology in an ancient cave,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That
they
is
they
very in
literally
Russia.
dated it back. They dated it back.
Yeah, they dated it. Some say one article was 20,000 years to 300,000, but I don't know how they can do that without,
But look at that picture.
yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. They're coils that we know today.
Right.
Yeah. So, and is it a coincidence that it's in an area that is very much like what's described in the novel in Russia? I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying there's a portal there or anything like that, but what it tells me and this whole topic is that there's so much we don't know. I mean, right? Where did they come
Right.
from? What?
Now, they dated it 300,000 years ago, but if you all go back and watch our show about the age of the earth, we are of the biblical worldview opinion that the earth isn't that old. So, but that's interesting that it is ancient.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, there's so many mind-blowing things with these books. So one of the things that I was going to talk about with the dog, the dog's name is Bulger, and when Trump first went into the White House, he was going to get this I think it was a poodle or a poodle mix for Barron,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to name the dog Patton because Donald Trump loves General Patton.
Right.
But here's a connection that I found that somebody put online. This was not me doing this connection, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but I find it interesting. General Patton was the general who won the pivotal battle of the Bulge, and the dog's name is Bulger.
Oh, ooh. That was a nice catch, whoever got that. Wow.
Now, we have a lot of questions
Mhm.
like why, I don't know. Why did Ingersoll Lockwood write these books, and how coincidental is it that there's a real Barron Trump and a real President Trump named Donald?
Mhm.
It's just crazy. But the book did speak of Barron Trump traveling to another dimension called Goggle Land and going to Russia on the highway. And then it was in this dimension where he could travel through time,
Mhm.
which is kind of crazy because we have all of these coincidences. and then this book is about time travel.
Mhm.
So,
There's more coincidences too later in the show
yeah.
with Tesla. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about time travel, so if you want to talk about him now, you can.
Well, do you want to talk about the last president a little bit? Because there's a lot of stuff, and then we get to that.
Yeah, actually, yep. The Last President is an interesting one. I actually was able to read that whole book plus the shorter Barron Trump book because one of the books is almost 350 pages, I think. So I didn't get through that one.
Mhm.
But yeah, let's talk about The Last President. It's about an outsider populist who becomes president against all odds.
Mhm.
How coincidental is that?
Mhm.
He became president in 1900, so that's why it's called 1900.
Mhm.
What were you going to say?
Well, and then there were mobs in the streets, and they're described as anarchists and socialists.
Well, so yeah, so in the book he
The
becomes
election.
president, and there are riots
Yeah,
in the streets
because
after
he was unpopular, but that was not with the people. It was with the elite and the
yeah.
anarchists.
It's super interesting because
Mhm.
all of the establishment was against this populist president taking
Mhm.
office. They didn't think he would.
Mhm.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was a populist president, but the riot broke out. The riot takes place in New York City
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
Fifth Avenue.
On Fifth Avenue.
And what's on Fifth Avenue, Carrie?
Trump Tower.
Trump Tower is right on Fifth Avenue.
And they talk about the Fifth Avenue Hotel, which the mob was going toward, and they were, the cavalry was coming out. They were bringing all their defenses to protect the hotel, which is where the president was. But I don't think he lived there. I couldn't find it. I don't think it said that. But anyway, it's where the Trump Tower is.
Yep, the Trump Tower is right on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
What a crazy coincidence.
Right.
Crazy coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another coincidence. So then they talk about who in the book, and this is a fictional book, they talk about who he put in his cabinet. And one of the people, it wasn't the vice president, but one of the people's last name was Pence.
He was appointed Secretary of Agriculture, LaFay Pence.
Super crazy. And the thing of that is I did research, and some of the people he mentions in that 1900 Last President book were actually real people. So I think he was reflecting on the times and what was happening at the time. And I think he was thinking, if this person gets in as president, then we're going to have troubles. And he was trying to say that, I feel like that, because back then they didn't have the internet to write Substacks and do your opinions and do the blogs.
But when you say there were people, they were real people, LaFay Pence was not, though.
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah, but these people weren't in these positions. Like, he was imagining what was going to potentially happen.
Right.
So, I don't know. I found that to be super crazy. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
What just popped in my mind, Sidney Powell, we know who Sidney Powell is today, but there's actually a book written, I think it was in 1949.
Yes.
Called The Great Awakening.
Yes.
By Sidney Powell. Okay. So, there's so many things like that. But anyway, I digress. Did you notice
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, somebody has a theory.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Somebody said, I read somewhere. Let me find that quote. It was kind of an interesting take, and it could be true, because I think we should always try to debunk anything. Sure. Here it is. Alternative take. I know that if I found a book with my name as the lead character, I might feel a special affinity for the book. Maybe the book left an impression on Trump, and this is a case of art imitating life. The Pence thing is strange, but who knows? I don't think the theory is impossible, but I do think there are more rational explanations. But at the same time, as Trump was in the 70s and 80s, he used an alter ego name called John Barron. I don't know if you remember this, like the media was making fun of him, and he finally admitted, yes, I used that fake name. But he would call like newspapers and pretend to be a PR person named John Barron.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
You don't? Oh, it was all over the news, and they have recordings of his voice, and you can hear it. But so he liked that as an alter ego name, John Barron. And so I think it just makes sense, because he must have fancied the name Barron for a while. Plus, it's like a title that they gave their son that name.
Right.
So he used it himself as a last name, a fake last name. So I don't know. But I could see
so his mother named him Trump. I mean, I don't know. Maybe him naming Barron, by that.
That's what I mean. Like, Trump was using the alter ego of John Barron. so that some people wouldn't know they were talking to Trump. And
Oh,
then,
right. I get that.
then they happen to name their son Barron. But I think that there's too many coincidences where you can't just fancy that your name was in a book back in the 1890s. How likely is it Trump would have seen that book?
Yeah.
Because it was very obscure. It
Mhm.
wasn't a popular book.
Mhm.
I did research, and it wasn't like a bestseller or
No,
anything.
not at all.
It wasn't known in literature. It wasn't part of the. There's this like children's literature where they talk about where, you know, they've got classics and
Mhm.
stuff like that. It's not anywhere in that grouping. So
It's not at the level of Alice in Wonderland, but it is archived in the Library of Congress now.
well, that's so. I wrote a book.
Okay.
I have a children's book, and you submit your book to the
Mhm.
Library of Congress. So
Mhm.
anytime you have a book that you are publishing and want to be able to sell, it you submit to the Library of Congress and they catalog it for you.
So I read that only about 20% of the books in existence are archived there.
Well, I
The
don't know if
archivist.
people
Anyway,
know to do it. The publisher actually, so I was my own publisher too. I created my own publishing company in order to do it.
mhm.
I do have my book cataloged at the Library of Congress.
Cool. Well, hey, that's fantastic. You're in good
So
company.
it's not like you need, all I had to do was submit it. You have to submit a hard copy
Okay.
and you have to be a publisher.
Okay.
And maybe all publishers don't choose to send all their books to the
Perhaps.
Library of Congress.
Yeah, perhaps.
They might only choose to send ones they think are timeless or will become classics or something like or
Yeah.
historical. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well-
that's a little tidbit for anybody who's a self-published author like me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, did you notice the very first paragraph of The Last President? Something
Well, I
about-
can pull it up.
Okay. I'm just going to
Actually, I did. Oh, that was something I was going to bring up, to be honest with you. That was going to be one of my things.
Okay.
So,
do you want to read it? I
yep,
have it right here.
I actually have it highlighted. Here you
Okay.
go. Go ahead. Do you want to read it?
Sure. That was a terrible night for this is after he wins the election and the city is just quaking. And this is how he describes it. That was a terrible night for the great city of New York, the night of Tuesday, November 3rd, 1896. The city staggered under the blow like a huge ocean liner which plunges full speed with terrific crash into a mighty iceberg and recoils shattered and trembling like an aspen.
Like a what? An iceberg?
Aspen. But
No.
it crashes into a mighty iceberg full speed.
Oh, into a mighty iceberg. I know. That's what caught my eye.
Right?
Because I thought of that the Titanic hadn't happened yet.
Like 16 years later, it happens.
Right.
So that was interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
And did you notice about the judicial?
No. What about
I don't know what page is, but as he's getting ready to put together his cabinet, and it reads regarding the Supreme Court. For the Supreme Court was still there, and yet Justice Field had come fully up to the 80th milestone in his journey of life, and Justice Gray was nearly 70, while one or two other members of this high court of the judicature held to their lives with feeble grasp. Even in due and orderly course of events, why might there not come vacancies? Okay. And
stacking the court. Yes.
No, it sounds okay. So anyway, he writes.
Well, he writes about stacking the court, though.
But he does. But there are elderly ready to retire and two clinging to life. And we know that Kennedy and Breyer retired and Ginsburg died.
Oh, I didn't even catch that one. That's a good find there, Carrie.
So that just popped out. Okay.
That is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, there are so many crazy things with these books.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. Oh, uh, I might want to go to this one real quick. And I want to do, oh, I thought I had my screen sharing. So I'm going to do a little search in here.
Okay.
And this I also found while I was doing research, and some folks might know about this, but some might not. So I'm going to search for the word anon.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
The word anon is in this first book 17 times.
In with his dog.
Little Barron Trump and his wonderful dog Bulger.
Whoa.
Isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
Yeah. But what was
That's
it referring to? I have to admit, I got through the other one, but not that one. What was it about? I mean, what was it referring to, rather?
so I got through the other two and didn't get through all of this either.
Okay.
But I do know that so his dog, he goes through, the part I was reading was about him being arrested, and which is kind of interesting. I don't know all the circumstances around it because I didn't read the whole thing.
I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked you that question because
No,
I
no,
didn't.
no, no, no. I didn't read the whole thing. So, but what I want to point out here is that the word anon shows up 17 times. What is the 17th letter of the alphabet?
Q. Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy. And it's literally the word anon.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
I,
Well, I'm going to have to read that one too.
yeah.
You got through the other
And
two.
I think in the 1890s, anon was not anon like we use it today.
Probably
Uh,
not.
no, it was more like and on, like while
Hmm.
ever and on, and um, pausing ever and on to sniff the morning. So they use it obviously differently, but it's so interesting. Like we don't
Mhm.
use that word today like that.
Mm, no.
Uh, yeah, I found that interesting. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna just check the chat really quick because I have
Yeah.
a feeling other people might have some things. Oh, yeah, we said hi to Herbie and Moxie. We got Pocket Friend. Hey, Pocket Friend. Is Pocket Friend? I think
That's
is that
red.
Sam?
Wait. I thought that was red. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Sorry.
is it Red? I
I
see
think
when people
so.
use different names, I can't
I
remember.
know. I think it's red.
Pocket Friend says I read the first of the 3 series.
Mhm. Nice.
Um, yeah, I'm curious what you thought about that. And Prayer Warrior says, Happy Tuesday. I love the festive vibe. Oh, yeah, we added the Christmas background because, it's the holidays now.
Yes.
And
Aw.
then we've got Atma D, such an interesting topic. Glad somebody's addressing it. What about their website? Any thoughts? Well,
Yeah.
we do have thoughts, and
Yeah.
we'll go. Why don't we go there, Atma, and we'll check it out. And then Pocket Friend says so many parallels. And let's see. Prayer Warrior says, I wondered if Trump read the book, but this is fascinating. So, yes, Prayer Warrior, you kind of have the same kind of take that I brought up that someone else had.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, that'd be
Pocket,
a good question to ask him.
what's that?
It would be a good question to ask him.
It would be.
Yeah.
People don't ask him some of these interesting questions.
Yeah.
I would want to ask him about something like that. And then
Rocker lady.
Moxie's here too. So hey
Moxie. Hey,
Moxie.
Moxie.
And Rocker Lady is here too. So it's either Pocket Friend and Rocker Lady.
It's red.
Rocker Lady Red.
Yeah.
And then Pocket Friend, I think, is Sammy.
No. Pocket Friend is red. It was confirmed in there.
Oh, it was confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that, friends. I get confused when people use multiple names.
Yeah.
So that being said, we can definitely go to.
Well, do you want to talk a little bit more and get to that? I mean, do you want to do that now? Because
Oh, whenever
are
you're
you
ready.
done talking about the last president?
Oh, yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Well, I thought it was interesting that he was viewed as the savior of the common people, and that he was elected, and what they were hoping was that he would be destroying the money lenders and speculators. And it's really clear that the people, the common people, had a deep hatred for for Wall Street and bankers, and they actually called Wall Street satanic and devilish power.
Yeah.
And corporations as soulless monsters. So I don't know, maybe it's always been like that.
No, but you know what? So that is interesting because so many of us are feeling the same thing people were feeling back then.
Mhm.
And this was supposed to be the president of the common man. But you know what the author does is he says how great this populist is and
Mhm.
man of the people. But then what the author does at the end of the book, he tries to prove that what this populist president was doing was causing the downfall of America.
Mhm.
And the more I researched Ingersoll Lockwood, the more I found out that he was quite liberal.
Mhm.
And I question whether or not, well, I'll show you when I get to it actually, because I pulled up newspaper clippings of things that he's done. One of the things, so he was a lawyer.
Mhm.
He was involved in all kinds of really interesting things. So he was a lawyer. Number one, he started this club in I want to find these
Go ahead.
clippings. Let me get the news articles because
Sure. Did
he
you notice that his inauguration speech was aimed at the common people, just like Trump?
yep,
Mhm. And he
just
loved
like
the
Trump.
people too. He had a great warmth for them and love for them.
He did. Uh, and you know what's funny is I'm like, how come mainstream media didn't talk about these books? But they actually did. I found a couple of Newsweek articles.
Oh.
Did the author from the 1800s predict the Trump's Russia and America's downfall? See how they add that.
No, that would be Biden, what he's doing now.
Well, at the end of the president book, the 1900 or the last president, the reason it's called the last president is because the Capitol is attacked.
Mhm.
And so then they say little Barron Trump, author, also wrote a book about a Capitol attack that ends the republic. So they're trying to.
Well, you know what's interesting? I notice it's the Republic of Washington fails in the end, the Republic of Washington. And we know that that DC is a nation state. It is a corporation, Act of 1871. And
Yep.
that wouldn't be a bad thing.
Have we done that show yet? We haven't done that.
No, we
Act of
haven't.
1871. Do you want to explain what that is real quick? Just
It
summary?
just, well, it's like, okay, well, let's do a show on it.
No, I know,
But
but so people
it
know what
just
you mean.
it changed, it kinda, in my opinion, threw our Constitution in the dustbin. And, we often wonder why the politicians that seem to have their own laws and own rules. It's because they do. It was incorporated. And it's like London is not part of England necessarily, that they're the nation state, the money capital of the world, and the Vatican is the spiritual, and then America, we are the military. So, but it's just very interesting that it's not, as far as laws, it's not really part. So anyway, I don't want to
Yeah.
digress too far.
No,
We
yeah, we
could
didn't
go
need
deep
just a quick summary. So,
but
but yeah, even Politico talked about these books. Trump is the star of these bizarre Victorian novels, and
mhm.
the internet is losing its mind.
Well, and
Oh,
in the book, he takes the country back to the gold standard, and the Wall Street, they're wailing and crying and moaning, and the paramedics are hauling them away.
yes, that was the other thing. I'm glad you brought that up. That yeah, that he wanted to bring the country back to the gold standard.
Yeah,
In this book, the book from the 1890s.
yeah,
It's like wow,
yeah.
crazy
So,
parallels.
but I know
And
what you mean about, was there something, did he have a slant, being liberal and trying to say that, oh, all these things that, we right now see that would be really good, like,
he's pretty much saying in the book that that's what causes the downfall
right.
of
But a lot of
America.
that was also the division, and there's still remnants. He's probably reminiscing or just recalling the Civil War because it was so recent. And so it's like the division between the North and South. Today, it's the elite versus the people, or the left versus the right. You know,
Yeah,
a
well, he
lot of
was
pardon.
he even wrote letters about wanting um to support the liberal progressive agenda he
Mhm.
talked about.
Interesting.
And one of the things that he asked for was for women to have statues named after them.
Hmm.
And so he wanted statues built in New York City for women. And he even talked about, like, you can't build them out of the same thing because of the long hair. Like, you have to use a different material. I'm going to switch microphones real quick. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I have more, but I know we're still on the topic of how coincidental this is. So I will get into who Ingersoll Lockwood is more after.
Okay.
But it is interesting. He's got an interesting life, let's say.
Yeah. Well,
And
and replacing national bank notes with United States notes, how could that be a bad thing? That's a good thing. That would be,
right, but
right?
he was kind of doing what the mainstream media now
Exactly.
is trying to do, which is another parallel.
Right? And also, so he has a little bit of hopeful stuff in there. You go, wow, and then you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I mean, repealing acts that established the central banks, or the national banks, he calls them. These are all really good things, and he was going to avenge the common people by, taking out the usurers and the speculators.
Yep.
Our current banking system is usury. So yeah, and then it all comes crashing down. Anyway, we don't want to do a book report if y'all haven't read it,
No, we don't
but
want to do a book report, but it's super interesting, all of these coincidences, which
mhm.
poses the question, um, are these coincidences? Yes, obviously. And Q has always told us to ask how many coincidences before it's mathematically impossible to be a
Right,
coincidence.
right.
So there are questions though. Could Trump have read the books and been like, oh, I want to name my son after this because that would be kind of cool and people would go crazy. Um, so that is a possibility.
Mhm,
Um, some people believe in time travel,
mhm.
and I know that you have some stuff that you want to talk on that.
Yeah, well, my thought was, okay, prophet or time traveler, right? I mean,
Or, yeah, did he prophesy? Did he know and see what the future was going to bring and wanted to talk against it?
yeah. I mean, Isaiah received prophecy, a lot of prophecies in the Old Testament. I mean, he prophesied the birth of Jesus 740 years before he was born. And so, if God wants to give someone, a prophecy, he can do it with anyone. But then what does the person do with it is the question. And, so as far as time traveler, yeah, I do have some things about time travel, but it's not like I think Ingersoll Lockwood is the time traveler.
No, I think I know. And some people do think it's Ingersoll Lockwood, and other people think it's Trump himself, because his father was a physicist, and he was able to see Nikola Tesla papers after Nikola Tesla died.
Right. The FBI asked him to look them over because they probably had no clue what they all meant. Because he was
Well,
a physicist.
the reason they asked him is because they had heard a rumor that he was creating a super weapon.
Mhm.
And it was about weapons. They wanted to know if there were harmful weapons that could be created. I don't remember if he called it a death ray or something
Death
like
ray,
that.
which is the particle beam that we now know is used in pulse warfare. It's used in ballistic shields. It's used in Space Force, in space, protection in
Mm-hmm.
war. So, but it's interesting that when the FBI was told about it, or they saw it, and they're like, no, they just dismissed it. But the military, I think it's in that article, they were like, oh, really? And
Which article? Do you want me to pull an
yeah,
article?
let's pull it up. It's Media 4. They had a
Nikola Tesla, not the time travel. Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, we could look at that too, but I think we were just as far as Tesla and Professor Trump. But because this is all about the missing files as well. Where are the missing files? And
So that's one thing that we didn't say, that some of Nikola Tesla's files are missing.
Mhm.
And it's been a big deal. They've been investigating it, trying to figure it out.
Do you
And
really think they're missing, though? I mean, if
Trump's uncle told after the military or FBI asked him to look through the papers and tell us, if there's anything of interest, he said, no, there's nothing here. It's just mostly speculative,
Mhm.
theorizing things. And he said that was it. So it was Trump's uncle.
Mhm.
And so that's why people think Trump might have some technology
like he
that we
might
don't
have
know
kept
about.
it, or he saw it and just
Didn't want the
disclose
government
it.
to have it.
Or he didn't disclose it because the government said you can't, and the government has lost some of them, and but they completely dismissed this death ray particle beam, yet we have that technology and we've had it for a while. So
Well, and one of the things before so I'll pull this back up, but one of the things is that Tesla did time traveling experiments.
right. And so
And
Red and Cat is asking, wasn't it Trump's uncle? Sorry if we didn't clarify that. Yes, his uncle John Trump.
John Trump, he was at MIT.
Yeah.
He was
He
a
helped develop
physicist.
X-ray machines for cancer patients, and he was
Yep,
brilliant.
he was mostly doing X-ray machines.
Right. But yeah, engineer, inventor, physicist. Sorry,
Yep, but Tesla said that he was experimenting with time travel, that
Yeah.
he could see the past, present, and future all at the same time.
Yeah.
So going back to yours,
But it's interesting. So I read that happened in his lab. I think it was in Colorado Springs, where he was hit with 3.5 million bolts, not volts, bolts.
yep, he put that through himself.
And
Yeah, so when I was doing research, there's tons of newspaper articles about that.
yeah, and he would have died if his assistant hadn't turned off the machine. And it was when he was paralyzed in that, with all those bolts, that he said he could see the past, present, and future. So that's pretty wild, because he also said that he invented an oscillator capable of creating earthquakes. There's a lot of technology, but that one really caught my
Yep.
eye.
I think he said that he accidentally caused an earthquake on a bridge.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, it's interesting what Tesla, his inventions, and some of the stuff he did. He was also very much against Einstein and didn't believe in the theory of relativity,
Yeah,
which was,
they were at odds. He had some
well,
colorful.
Tesla was an interesting character.
He was.
Yeah, he actually, we'll have a show about Tesla. So let's get back to this.
Well, regarding time travel, Tesla did speak about bending time, which is what Einstein's special theory of relativity. It's like relativity, but it's special. And so even though they differed, but you can pull up, if you would, that other article.
Okay.
It's Media 3, and
Oh.
it's Scientific American. And this professor of physics at Montana State University is saying that, yes, time travel to the future is possible. And that is based on the special relativity theory. And that they've actually tested it with the atomic clock in the Naval Observatory, right? Where basically.
And there's a book that I read a long time ago called A Brief History in Time. And they talk about that. It's not really about time travel, but it's more about, and you and I were talking about this, I think, yesterday, where if you go at the speed of light and you go for a year and come back, now I'm just saying a year. It's a different ratio.
Well, time
But you come
down.
back and it's 100 years later, and you're only a year older, because you're going at the speed of light. So
Right.
it's
Like the two twins experiment. One stays, the other goes to outer space, even at the half the speed of light. And when he returns, his brother, his twin, could be like, depending upon how long he was gone, like 600 years old dead, or 30 years older, and he's the other one that was in space is 6 years older.
Yeah.
But that is time travel in a sense, because he is living in the future. It's a little bit to get your head around, right?
Yeah, if you go at the speed of light and come back, you will be back into the future because you went at that speed.
Right. And they've done it with the atomic clock, where the atomic clock is our time that we go by. But if you take one and you go up at a higher altitude and you're traveling fast around the world, it will change. Not a lot, because you're not at the speed of light, but it changes enough where they know they've done the experiment. And yet you also need a wormhole. Just that little thing as far as a person traveling. Anyway.
Yeah. It's super interesting. So somebody asked me, did you want me to point something specific out in this article?
Oh, that's okay. Just that he said, yes, it's absolutely, the answer is yes. But he said there are two, you have to divide it, and that is, so is it possible within a short time, less than a human lifespan, to travel into the distant future? His answer is absolutely yes. But is it possible to travel into the past? And he said maybe. So
yeah, I could see how that would be harder to.
Yeah, that's where you need that wormhole, I guess. I don't know.
But what was I going to say? Oh, somebody asked me in Telegram chat to get my Nikola Tesla digs out, because I've done a lot of digging on Nikola Tesla. I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll go over it this weekend. I need to compile all that together, and maybe I'll compile it. And I started looking at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much. There's so much on Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, that's
all of the articles. So we're gonna plan a show just on him, I think. In the near future. I don't think it will be far out, but it won't be probably the rest of this year, because we have the rest of this year planned out. But
it deserves its own show. And we just want to connect Lockwood Trump through Tesla altogether. And it's,
Well, it's
you know,
interesting how they do all connect
mhm.
to each other, you know. But let's see. I have some interesting things.
Okay.
Really quick, because we could talk. I can't even believe it's been almost an hour, and I don't even think we've covered
Oh,
everything.
whoa.
This is
Okay.
such a fascinating topic. I
Mhm.
like can't stop talking about it. But um, there is there there is a person who died, and uh, Ingersoll Lockwood was her estate attorney.
Right. Yeah.
Did you read
I
about this?
did. Like,
Okay. So
yeah.
she had a very suspicious death. This story could be its own show. She was found on railroad tracks, but they discovered she didn't die from being hit by a train.
Mhm.
So it was a big mystery. How did she die? And the interesting thing is Ingersoll Lockwood. So there was this dispute with her family and him,
Mhm.
and her family. There was like 3 different wills, and
Mhm.
one of the wills, like she had complained to her family that her will was stolen, and Ingersoll Lockwood said that she had $7,000 worth of. She was a very wealthy woman, and she had $7,000, and I don't know how much that adds up to in 1800s or 1905. I think it might have been at this time.
Mhm.
Actually, 1905. Yep.
Mhm.
But he said she had $7,000 in assets,
Mhm.
and her family said she had $100,000
Mm.
in assets. So I think some shenanigans were going on, and I'm digging on that right now to figure out what happened. But he was literally, the Supreme Court dismissed him from the estate and said he couldn't be the attorney. And I need to figure out why. I need to
But
find out what.
wasn't he in one of the wills but was taken out?
Yeah, he was in the will
Yeah, yeah.
too.
Yeah, but was removed. So
Yes.
there's
Yeah,
definitely
it's a very fishy thing. The
yeah.
other thing that I found as I'm digging on him, and I went to look at old newspapers. There's a newspaper is it in Kansas or Kentucky? Sorry, I can't remember. Oh, I should probably, I could probably look. But I'm not going to do that right now. But basically, it's called the Luciferian. And he is mentioned in this paper.
Oh,
And I believe
whoa.
that he was
A Satanist?
satanic.
Oh,
And
wow.
the reason I'm not sure, I'm
Mm,
digging right now. So
whoa.
this is super fascinating because uh, he was a part of a group called the Temperance Society or something like that. That
Mm,
was a group of people who um, got together and said, and tried to get people not to drink alcohol.
hmm.
And it was all about, they were abolitionists or whatever. They just didn't want anybody drinking alcohol,
Right.
and it was a group about that, which is
Prohibition.
or prohibition, yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, but what he did as a part of that group, they held some of their meetings at churches, and um, they would bring a Bible, and he was so against the Bible being a part of their discussions.
Wow.
And there was a big thing where he wrote a letter complaining about the Bible shouldn't be a part of this, and somebody
Hmm.
else wrote a letter back saying, uh, we need to praise God when these people stop drinking.
Wow. Well, so this
And
has a whole nother layer to him and these books.
well, wait, there's one more thing that makes me think. So number one, he was very much against the Bible.
Mm,
Number two, there's shenanigans going on with this case of this woman's mystery death. They
mhm.
couldn't figure out how she died. And the other thing that I have is that he started this group called the Titans in New York City. It was like a secret society kind of
Oh,
group,
geez.
but it was for people who were 6'2" or taller only, and it was for men.
That's weird. That's
It's
just
like
weird.
giants. You know, it's crazy.
That
I'm
is
digging on it right now. And yeah, it's a
Wow.
conspiracy theory. I have a theory. So this is a conspiracy theory because I'm
Uh-huh.
theorizing. And just for Newsweek and everybody else, when conspiracies are found to be true, it's no longer conspiracy theories.
Right. Right.
But anyway, I
He's
just
quite the character for sure.
yes, I'm doing so much digging on this guy.
Okay.
The whole will thing and stuff like that. Not only that, he had other coincidences where he wrote a screenplay about George Washington, and two other playwrights wrote screenplays called Washington, and they all were pretty much the same thing. And they said none of them copied each other. Like there's no plagiarism going on there. So I'm digging on that. So yeah, I've found all kinds of stuff. I really couldn't stop digging, and it was pretty interesting.
I'm not
But
surprised.
but um oh the here there is a picture of him too in the newspaper. I'm going to share it.
Okay.
So the Chicago Tribune posted a portrait of him. And it says that Ingersoll Lockwood was for 15 years the attorney for Mrs. Todd. This is Margaretta Todd, the person who died.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so after a quarrel, so this is the other interesting thing. After a quarrel with her last summer, he was forced to move out of an apartment he had occupied on one of her buildings. This was right before she died. They had a quarrel. And she made him move out. So, anyway, more to come on that.
Okay.
I've got way too much on this stuff. So, it's super interesting. And so is Barron Trump.
Yeah, look at that.
I mean,
Right?
that's crazy.
Well, if this guy was a Satanist, then that brings,
Well, right? And time travel and or prophecy.
from another source. Yes.
Right. It brings a whole new level of what's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and then do you want to talk about the website? Because
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll do that before we get to the memes.
do we have time?
I mean, I'll bring it up real quick.
Okay.
But I'm just going to give a disclaimer to everybody. So
Yeah.
I know I have no judgment on what you think of this website at all. But I think it's a shill website. And somebody posted in my Telegram channel that they think it's DARPA. So take it with a grain of salt, but I will pull it up.
It's kind of confusing knowing what we know, because the website, it's all about Space Force and American exceptionalism, safe, clean nuclear energy, this carbon negative regenerative farming, which is amazing. Homeschooling programs for your kids that start with the Gettysburg Address, like all this really pro-American, patriotic stuff. And, and then, there was reading material for the Space Force, which was the books of Enoch. And there's just some strange things. And there's some links there, because I've been going there here, visiting it for several months. And sometimes there's a link to the debt clock, and there was Ephesians 6:10 on the debt clock. It's like,
And they've got Space Force on the front page. It's not. This is not a government website because it's.
and
I
you
don't
can
know.
you can get involved in Space Force and apply for a job. So you and I were talking, like, are they trying to get our IP address? You know, are they trying
Well,
to?
it's crazy because when this website first came out, and then they mentioned Space Force,
Mhm.
and when this website first came out, they had some like coded messages on the front page. I should go to the Wayback Machine and look at like when it first came out. I should see. Oh,
Well,
here.
the Ingersoll Lockwood.
Ingersoll Lockwood is a nonpartisan group of Americans with distinguished careers serving our great nation. We don't believe in the QAnon conspiracy, nor would we ever. Please tell this to all.
Hmm.
Like, this is just like a very shilly website to me.
Yeah, it
And
doesn't.
then
There's something about
site
it doesn't feel
status.
right.
Operational, currently under attack. Company status, not acquired. The year is 2023. Like, this is a weird website. And then, but they, even though they say, oh, we don't believe in the QAnon conspiracy, Q dot anon,
Mhm.
then, but yet they will, where did they post that? They
There have
posted,
been in some of the links that change things that do point to Q or a Q drop or
this.
images like the clock with the
They've got
it.
Ingersoll Lockwood writings on here.
Yeah.
But here's what I think this site is meant to draw
Mhm.
patriots.
Mhm.
And I don't care. They probably know who I am anyway.
Yeah.
But when you go to the website, it says getting a secure connection.
Mm.
I think they're tracking
Mm.
you.
Could
Like, I
possibly.
think they want us to go here so that they can track you. You know, look at what they did to the January 6th
Yeah.
folks when they had that protest. They tracked all their phones, where they went, and that's how they're arresting people, is by the geolocation.
Right.
And I
But
think they're getting your IP here, and they can not only find out exactly where you are, but they can find out what you're doing online. I just be careful, people. That's all.
absolutely. But I will say that there are people that are just interested in the book and not necessarily pro America or pro Trump. Do you know?
I know, but why are they even listing Ingersoll Lockwood books here? And it's supposed to
But
be a
it is to draw it.
cybersecurity, huh?
No, you're right. It is to draw us in. But there was something that I thought was so fascinating. If you go to News and Insights, the carbon capture shield at the top bar, and you click on it's the things they're working on, and anti-bullying, which again, it's all good stuff.
Well, yeah, of
For us,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, they're going
But
to put interesting stuff on here for us to find and look around.
But this is
Uh,
what I want to know with this carbon capture shield. They have a write-up that we've been led to believe that fixing our planet is some nearly impossible task that is only possible through massive global effort and sacrifice. But what if we found a way to fix most of the problems facing our environment with simple and painless shifts in behavior? Well, if you have, why don't you do it? Do you know? And with the regenerative gardening, I think it's a 2-minute video. It has an AI voice of Morgan Freeman. Can you see it?
1 second.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I left the website, so
I
just
see.
let me go back there.
Okay. And these are the things that they focus on.
So where am I?
Okay, up the side.
Guide me.
Portfolio.
Which
And
item?
oh geez, maybe it's under news. There it is. CCS. See, there's a link. Is it not? It's not opening.
Oh, can you see? You don't see what I'm seeing.
I'm just seeing the same homepage, or the Space Force
All right, hang
video.
on. So this is what some websites do. They open up in a different window.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Here we go. I think it's worth watching.
I'm excited. We're pumping huge industrial amounts of chemicals into the soil, which runs off into the groundwater, streams, rivers, the ocean, creating dead zones bigger than New Hampshire.
Climate crisis now. Catastrophic situation will not end.
So, why am I excited? Nature has already solved every problem we've created. For instance, oil spills tend to destroy natural ecosystems. Yet there is a type of fungus that actually feeds on oil spills, breaking down those hydrocarbons the way your body digests food. Studying the natural harmonies of living soil led researchers to discover simple shifts in farming practices that can eliminate the need for toxic pesticides of all types, eliminate the need for chemical fertilizers, eliminate the need to manually till or plow the soil, yet still increase soil fertility and the nutrient density of crops grown in such living soil. Carbon Capture Shield works to protect Earth's natural balance by researching, developing, teaching, and upholding regenerative standards in every aspect of production, from farm to table. The best part is that you can get involved without even changing your habits by joining our community. Help us build a global community of conscious consumers who come together as stewards of our planet and drive change through market demands. Carbon Capture Shield, because without balance, we all fall.
So, Nebs, can you hear me? Nebs?
Sorry, I muted myself.
Okay. So we just did a show on food and is it safe and all the pesticides and, Monsanto and just the poisoning of our food. And yet they're saying that they have these ways to grow food, better food, more nutritious food without pesticides. So I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm still sus of that whole website.
I am too.
But I know they put interesting stuff out there, but
we know Monsanto and these big companies have so much sway with Congress because they pay a lot, to be able to do what they do. And we need to dismantle these strangleholds they have on our politicians. And maybe that's why we can't be doing these things. So, I go back and forth, like anyway.
Well, it's like, why would a cybersecurity company name themselves Ingersoll Lockwood to begin with?
Right. I agree.
And they haven't been around that long. So I did a who is search. And for non-technical people, just so you know, that's where you can look up a domain name and see when that domain name was created. It was created in 2020, just a few years after the Ingersoll Lockwood books were discovered. So, and they did try to lure in what they call Q.Anon folks. So just based off of their website when it first started. And if I do this and go to the Wayback Machine.
Okay.
I'm super curious. Oh, there's actually a 2019 reference there. Okay, so if I go to 2021, when people were looking at the website, it looked much different than it does today. Oh, it still had so it had a countdown clock. Remember that? Had people being sus, like, what is this website with this countdown clock?
Look at this bar on the bottom. Part of the Luciferians' agenda will be
Depopulation of humanity using many nefarious means. Surprisingly, American schools will become institutions for this outcome, including gender confusion, forced vaccinations, and critical race theory.
Ingersoll Lockwood.
Right. So,
Hmm.
so this website actually had this weird stuff on it in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And now it's trying to look very legit. And
well, his other books are also, they are studied for cultural relevance, because there's a lot of stuff like that quote in his other books as well. So anyway, I mean, y'all can come to your own conclusions.
They were totally trying to woo people in the movement.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminds me of people who try to say that they've got insiders who are talking to them. Yeah. And things like that. So, or some of the people that try to hint that they have that. And it's like, no, just like,
it does seem
I hope people use their best judgment and, just make sure that you're using discernment, because there are a lot of people out there trying to confuse people, especially as they're waking up. They discover these things and go to them. And I'm not going to do a whole soapbox on it. I guess I just did. So, but with that, I think we have more things to cover, but I think we're probably at time and we should probably talk about memes.
Yeah, we should.
I think I'm excited to do a show about Nikola Tesla and dig more into that.
Great.
And what he did. As far as my opinion, I'm not really sure what I think about Ingersoll Lockwood. I don't know about time travel, and the prophecy thing. I'm digging to find out more about this guy, and I think my dig might be related to what's going on here. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, what it all tells me is that there are many things that we do not understand yet about our world and our universe. There's a lot of mystery still. And, it's interesting. It's fascinating.
Rocker Lady says, oh, the debt clock is a whole other subject. Yes, we could have a whole show on that.
Yeah. I wonder if did you see when Ephesians 1:9 was in there? It was like, it's not there now.
Yeah, and
I mean, 6:10.
Cafe Deluxe posts some of the things from the debt clock once in a while, and I'm like, what? That's on there? Because I'm not checking it every day, but
who's doing that? Who's putting those things on, like in secret windows? Like what?
What do you mean?
Never mind.
Oh!
On the debt clock.
On the debt clock site. Sorry. I wasn't with you there. Sorry.
That's okay. We should do memes.
Yeah, let's do memes. Okay.
Rocker Lady saying it sounds too good to be true, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Especially when they're trying to convince you or say things that you want to hear.
Exactly.
It just, you got to be careful when people are saying everything you want to hear and they're not pissing you off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and then, for parents, your free curriculum for your homeschooling your kids, they'll get all the, the parents that don't want to send their kids to the schools, the indoctrination camps.
Yeah.
So you're right. That's why we do what we do. We're kind of skeptical.
Yeah, we're skeptical. We like to research. We like to find out where is the truth, because that's really all that matters.
Yes.
Is what is the truth. Let's do memes. So I just want to let you guys know we did record Meme Wars, and we Moxie and Carrie and myself, we all rated the memes, and we talked a lot about the memes, and I had to do a lot of editing, and I wasn't able to get it down to a small enough number. So I'm just going to show the memes, and I'm going to let you guys know what we rated them as. And I did edit the video from what we did last night, but it's like 20 minutes. So I need to do more editing, and then I'll post it for you guys tomorrow.
We were having too much fun.
We were having way too much fun. You know, doing the meme wars is super fun.
Yeah.
But are you guys ready to see what the ratings for some memes were? All right, let's do this. Let's add this to the stage. This is the first one entitled, oh, I've got to get my little titles up. Sacrifice wealth. So Trump sacrificed his wealth for our nation. Biden sacrificed our nation for his wealth. So that was rated overall at a 3.67. We all thought it was super true, and we all thought it was informational, but we didn't think it was funny. So 3.67 on that one. The next one is called Password Hacker. And this is from TB on X. Hacker, I have all your passwords. Me, oh my God, thank you. Where are they? So this one scored high. This one scored 4.78 for an overall average. The next meme that we have is called That Face, and it's from Sherm on Truth Social. That face. That face you make when the person you hate keeps making the country you hate great again. So this one scored at a 4.56. We thought it was very accurate. We were mixed on whether it was funny, and that's why the score is not the highest score. The next one is from Pepe Deluxe, and it's entitled Dude. Don Lemon says that Michelle Obama is prettier than Melania Trump, but Lemon is gay, so of course he prefers dudes. So that one scored a 4.44. We were again mixed on whether we thought this was funny or not. So the next one's called Biden's Keys. It's the meme I use to ask you for memes. But hello, Jill, I locked my keys in the car again. So this one scored a 4.78, just like the Password Hacker. We thought it was true. We thought it was funny. And we thought it was easy to understand. Those are our three categories. The next meme, Bilbo Baggins in Telegram chat submitted this one, and it's called the Squad. Squad Logic, sorry. The Squad Logic. Let the J6 protesters rot in prison, but leave him alone. So that was the Squad Logic, and that one scored a 3.44. We didn't think it was funny. We were mixed on whether it was easy to understand. The next one was submitted by Red, and it's called Strategy Attempt. Investigate yourself. When the reporter who debunked Pizzagate pleads guilty to child porn. Now, some of you might not know, but that was in the news recently. That a journalist who debunked Pizzagate ended up having child porn. We scored this one at a 3.78 because although it was very accurate and true, it wasn't very funny. And we didn't think everybody would understand this because you have to know what Pizzagate is. You have to know the story. The next one, the next one is called Pills versus Lifestyle from Carrie. People are in line for pills and surgery, but nobody's in line for a lifestyle change. This one scored a 3.56. We all thought it was very informational. Funny factor was down, so it didn't score at the top.
All my memes I voted down on funny. It's like, why did I even submit them?
Then, yeah, I on Telegram chat posted New World Order versus Society.
I love this one.
I do. So society is doing a selfie while the New World Order is about to eat it up. Very good meme. It scored a 4.67, so it's not at the top, but it's definitely second place. And then the next one is called Nikki Haley Thinks She Can from Carrie. And it's Melania and Trump. And then Nikki Haley said, when I'm president. So that one scored a 4.44. We were a little mixed on accuracy. We all thought it was pretty funny and a little mixed on informational. You have to know what's going on in the conservative politics. The next one was submitted by two people, Angela Puxton and Red, and it's called Look, Daddy. Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a Biden crime is discovered, they make up a new Trump indictment. Ain't that the truth? So this one scored, what is the overall score for this one? 4.33. We thought it was very accurate, easy to understand, but it scored overalls 3s on being humorous. And then Carrie submitted an FBI Thanksgiving. And this was posted by Donald Trump Jr. Hope you all had an awesome Thanksgiving. Be thankful that the FBI is watching the real domestic terror threats. So this one scored a 3.89. We didn't think it was funny. It was super true. FBI is after the all-American family. And we were mixed on whether it's informational or easy to understand because we don't know that everybody is aware of what's happening in the world. All right. The next one is called Submit and also submitted by Carrie. Look at those little globalists there. They'll keep setting fires until you submit to their climate change agenda. They'll keep faking pandemics until you submit to the medical slavery. The only thing I think about this one is I think COVID was a real thing. I don't think it was fake, but I do think turning it into a pandemic was they overdid it. This one scored a 3.44. We thought it was very true, informative, but not funny. The next one was sent by TR1 in Telegram chat, and it's called High Heels. Can you figure out what it's going to be? All right. Let's see. High heels. I've been reading them all. Maybe I should have you read the rest of them. Do you want to read this one?
If high heels were so wonderful, men would be wearing them, Ron DeSantis.
Yes. Ain't that the truth? So this one scored a 4.
But they are wearing them now.
That's true. We thought it was, very truthful and accurate. We thought it was funny, but at the same time, we didn't think it was easy to understand because we're not sure that the regular average Joe American knows that Ron DeSantis has been caught wearing heels.
They didn't notice him hobbling around in his cowboy boots with heels put inside.
Yeah, they didn't notice that.
Yeah.
The next one was submitted by Red. It's called Have You Figured It Out Yet? You want to go ahead and read it?
Yes, Gavin Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Yes, Adam Schiff's sister is married to George Soros' son. Yes, John Kerry's daughter is married to a mullah's son in Iran. Yes, Hillary's daughter, Chelsea, is married to George Soros' nephew. And no, you can't join the club.
That's right. So this one was rated at a 3.78. Definitely very, very true. Easy to understand. We didn't think it was funny, however. So the next one is entitled Guitars from Moxie. Moxie, is this the one I'm not supposed to show? Or no, I can show this
No,
one.
that's another one.
Okay. All guitars must be electric by 2023. Little Greta. She likes to tell us what to do.
Moxie says, don't show the graph.
Oh, okay. No, I won't. Well, I can't show the Gates one either, I don't think. All right, this one scored a 4.11. We thought it was funny. We weren't sure about how accurate or how informative it is. We're not sure the average American will get this. So, all right, Red submitted the next one. It's called Government and the Media versus Anons. Go ahead, Carrie.
All right, sorry, I was writing something in chat.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. The government censors with their media henchmen. And then here's Kermit the Frog, which is some people making memes.
I want to see the rest of his body. It looks so cute.
I know the words are covering up his little butt.
I know.
This one scored a 4.67.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's us.
Very high up there on the scoring range, but yet not at the top. The next one was not submitted, but it is from TB on True Social. 2023. Oh, go ahead, Carrie.
2023, school will be closed due to high winds. 1983, tornado happening. Go in the hall and put a book on your head. Also, we are having pizza for lunch.
This is so true. Oh, but yet we didn't all agree on the truthfulness. So this final score for this one was 4.56, but it did make me laugh out loud and think of my childhood. Yes. All right. The final one that we have to show was submitted by Peter. And this one is called Common Sense versus the Demons. So this is Trump saying, I support Israel, no new wars, talking about peace, legal immigration, free speech, fair elections. And this is Hillary saying Hitler deprogrammed MAGA voters, which she literally said. Mm-hmm. This one scored at a 4.11. We thought it was very truthful. We also thought it was very easy to understand. However, we didn't think it was funny. No. And that was our meme. And who won the meme wars? Well, we had a tie. We had a tie between Biden's keys and this one. This one scored at the top. And then what was the other one that scored at the top?
The hacker with passwords.
Oh, the hacker. This one won the day.
I think we can all relate.
Yeah. So this was the big winner, just because I submitted the keys one, and I'm not going to let myself win.
Very great.
So, and this is the funniest. This is super funny.
Although the winner wins absolutely nothing.
Yes.
Very gracious of you.
Ain't that the truth? The winner wins nothing. Oh, man. What a show tonight, guys. What a show tonight. I want to thank everybody who joined us.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, I know. It was a big topic. We had so much to talk through. And next week, I want to let you guys know that I had posted that Trent in Colorado is running for Congress. And we will be interviewing him next week. I know there's some controversy going on there, but I'm not worried about it. We're going to go ahead and interview him, let him tell us what he's all about, how he got into politics, and we'll have more memes too. So I'm super excited. And I hope you guys
hope
have
so.
a wonderful week. Do you have any closing thoughts, Carrie?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No, lots of mystery in the world to discover yet.
There is. And I will definitely follow up in my dig. We'll be having Nikola Tesla soon.
Yeah.
And have a good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Carrie.
Night, Nevs.
I can see clear